and Torres. And for Mexican beach volleyball, it really is an opportunity to collect a lot of experience. Breaking Kleinman. And as we've seen so far, the Mexicans setting the ball way off the net is making it very difficult for Kleinman, who preferred to be standing up and blocking up there at the moment, but she's being made to break because by setting off the net, the Mexicans have more angles and they have an ace as well, and that's the first end here in Cancun in this 4-star competition, the first hub of 3, and it's maybe a bit surprising as the Mexican pairing of Quintero and Torres have taken the end as we start to really assess the win conditions. April Ross is having a word with the first referee. Both of these teams are in Pool A in this modified pool play competition. As we have a look at the ace, this is what April Ross is maybe a bit upset about. Well, the ball's certainly in on that occasion. Change of ends, Mexico with the serve in paradise. Well, some big competitions coming up. 100 days towards the Olympic Games. Kleinman, it's another side out, this time from the new end. In under 100 days, we'll see in the women's competition who will be crowned the Olympic gold medalist. As we mentioned a little bit earlier on, former world champion April Ross is looking for a gold medal at an Olympic Games, having won silver in London with Jennifer Kessie, former coach of this team, remember Jen Kessie, and also the bronze in Rio with Kerry Walsh-Jennings. A mistake from Quintero gives the USA the lead, and Alix Kleinman to serves. Running in straight down the line, 2 balls coming. April Ross is watching everything on the turn. Kleinman using her height to her advantage. Very much part of a new school here. Alix Kleinman at 6'5", which translates to 1 meter 94 centimeters. Serve to the center this time. Kleinman decides to stay, funnels the ball straight towards April Ross. Tighter setting from the USA, and that just opens up the cross-court angle for April Ross. Dynamic and agile, as we've seen so many times. This team that won in Doha, that was their first competition since September 2019, the World Tour Finals in Rome. They only took a 9th that week, so as consistent as they have been, they will be having one eye this week on the Olympic Games as well. Speaking to Sarah Pavin earlier on in the week, they were talking, herself and Maria Jimena Paredes, about using this competition, or this trio of competitions, let's say, as a measuring stick to see where their performances are at compared to other teams towards the Olympic Games. Remember, the Canadians have already qualified for the Olympic Games due to being the world champions in 2019. Ball's in a great position. Alix Kleinman this time goes high line, and where Mexico are keeping the ball off the net to try and make Kleinman peel and take her height out of the game. On the other side of things, you've got Kleinman getting set tight by April Ross and then going boom over the top. Well, from a good start, Mexico find themselves 4 points down. April Ross, Alix Kleinman take the second end, and what we find in the wind, especially in a paradise like Cancun, all of a sudden these changes of ends make a big difference. It was windy in Doha around a month ago at the last 4-star competition. Quintero from the center, net touch this time. Rui Carvalho called into action. Great run from Kleinman and Ross. The FIVB bringing you all courts and every game of this Cancun hub. What an effort it is from the Federation. Oh, the touch is also a great effort as well. Mexico are scrambling here. It's played back on one, but in the wind, the ball is starting to move, but Kleinman's ball control is good, maybe a little bit too good, as she's caught underneath the ball with her spiking approach and can only play the ball into the net. Great hustle from Mexico, and that's what we're seeing a lot of. Heart, desire, and attitude. It's Kleinman this time underneath the ball. Hangs that one out to dry, but unfortunately hangs it on the bottom of the net band for the difference. Can Mexico maybe pull off a bit of an upset here? Great chase. It's a really good read from Quintero on the backcourt. Mexico, 2 big defensive efforts in quick succession. 3 big defensive efforts in quick succession. 3 balls in this time from April, the boss Ross. Oh, and she's plucked as well. Mexico is starting to really grow in some confidence, but you can also see the wind blowing in the faces of the home team as well. It means that they have the more beneficial end here. Fortunately for them, the ball blows over the net, and Kleinman will patrol with ease. Anything that's a 50-50, you would fancy Alix Kleinman. And also, at the end of those pictures, you can just witness yourself how warm it is in Cancun. Over 30 degrees every day so far. April Ross back, doing what April Ross does best throughout all of her partnerships. In recent times, you would not put too many serves on April Ross. You want to keep her as far away from the net as possible. But with Alix Kleinman, the reason why this team are so successful is you also want to try and keep Alix Kleinman away from the net as well. Kleinman penetrating, coming very straight this time. I'm working through the body. Mexico are improving here, and at times they're playing some really good volleyball. That snap back with the wrist on a sharp angle away from the approach line is difficult to defend. Joust. April Ross. Torres beaten. Five events left to secure Olympic qualification for these teams. Luckily, in this group, Kleinman and Ross are already going, but it's a big week for Bansley and Brandy in Pool A. Remember, modified pool play means that the winner of the opening games will meet each other. They would have already qualified by winning their opening game, but if you lose your opening game, you have one more match against the other loser in your pool to see who qualifies as third. If you win your pool and win the first 2 games, you go directly into round 2. Teams that finish second and third will have to compete in round 1. There is Kleinman and Ross, who will be very happy. They look very warm as well. It's worth noting that as the competition progresses, tiredness will become a factor. 2 to 3 matches a day in this heat will provide an exhausting task, but these athletes, they know what this is all about. They've done it time and time again. Some highlights so far, some good arm swings and a great whip of the arm from Susana Torres. Dynamic. And the wrist works really well. Well, some news for the World Tour coming in that Australia are back on the World Tour for the first time since Chet Mao. It's a team worth watching in their pursuit of going to the Olympics in under 100 days' time. Felipe Clancy, Maria Fay, Artacho. They've only played 10 events, so in theory, their next 2 events count towards their top 12. So whatever they gain in the way of world ranking points this week will only add to their points, but also in the American race to see who goes to the Olympics, put your seatbelts on, because it is so open with Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat occupying that second place. You can only send 2 teams per nation to the Olympic Games. But at the moment, looking at the rankings, the USA would have 4. Sarah Sponsor, Kelly Clace, unfortunately lost out in qualifying. Wrap back this time from Kleinman, who we've just seen work the line, and all of a sudden pop one back on the cut shot. Good variation of swings from Kleinman. So far, so good for the USA. time off the net, you can really see the wind take the ball out of the hitting window. Dropping underneath the arm of Quintero. And Mexico, the scoreboard says 16-9. It has been more or less one-way traffic, but we've also seen at times Mexico are well drilled. They can play the game, and they will be a threat for whoever they meet in the next round. But unfortunately, it's going to be another tough game. The loser of Borgasuda, Bansley and Brandy. For a lot of people, Bansley and Brandy drew a good result here after a fine performance in Doha, where they just missed out on the latter rounds. They've been based in Brazil, working with Rico de Freitas, their coach. Another high line for Tillmann. It's another example of her just mixing up her offensive plays all the time. The cut shot followed by the high line, making it almost impossible to play defense against. 4 will do it for the USA. At the same time, Mexico will be trying to build some momentum for the next set. It's another phenomenal dig, Quintero on the backcourt. This time it's very, very close to the net, and that's what the USA are doing well. They know they have a height advantage. They have a score advantage as well. 5'11" Torres at the net against Tillmann at 6'5", and it becomes very clear why the USA are setting very tight to go over the top. Also becomes very clear to why Mexico are keeping the ball slightly more off the net. Another fantastic achievement this week from the FIVB to conduct over 700 COVID tests to make sure that the bubble is safe. Every single one of them so far coming back as negative. That one's close. That hand over maybe from Tillmann? Absolutely not. She is well within her right to go reaching and knuckling to the back corner. And the number 2 team in the world, the number 1 seed for this competition, have been dominant. Back set from Mexico. Tight plays brings Tillmann right back in. The closer the ball is to the net for Tillmann, the more that those angles for the smaller Mexican players are going to disappear. Smuggled away though to the sideline. Ball's really far back on Quintero, but she does a great job of A, putting the ball away, and B, serving an ace, the Mexican number 1. Still set point for the USA. April Ross from the left side. Pat's line. And that's a good start to life in the main draw. Maybe the graphic in the top left is slightly too premature in giving the set to the USA. And this time it's set point for April Ross and Alix Tillmann. Off the net, high line. The line judge raises the flag. The ball is out. And at the second time of asking, the USA have taken the opening set. A fine run of form in Doha, where they beat the world champions Sarah Pavin, Melissa Humana Paredes. They've started in good form here in Cancun, in the bubble. And there is Coach Gonzalez of Mexico. Can be very proud of what he's creating here for the Mexican national team. At times for Quintero and Torres, they hustled with the best team in the world. This game is about focus and consistency. Be interesting to see in set number 2 if they can keep up the service pressure and put Ross and Tillmann under the cosh a little more. Just see how warm it really is out there. That chip line was a glorious shot, out by inches, but the fact that she showed so much of the cross court before chipping back to the line really sold it to April Ross. Execution slightly wide of the mark. Well, for Quintero, who will serve the opening ball of this second set from Obregon, right on the US border actually. It's a 1 day and 18-hour drive away from Cancun. Few tolls required on that journey, if anyone wants to take it. The left sider now resides a little more southern in Mazatlan. It's the northeastern coast of Mexico, but still 2,700 kilometers away from Quintero and Cancun. But that's where most of the Mexican players are based, in Mazatlan. USA is starting as they left off. Susana Torres just breaking. Gaps on the cut shot. Good vision once more from April Ross. The spiking, all about vision and rhythm. April Ross, cool, calm and collective as per usual. Float serve this time for Ross. See her usually take on a jump serve, but maybe because of the weather conditions, there's a touch off of Tillmann this time from Quintero. This exactly what Mexico are trying to do. Set the ball slightly more off the net and try and evade the block of Tillmann or go off the hands. It's a good tactic from them. Susana Torres from Puerto Vallarta. Ball serve and penetrate through to block. Beautiful place, Puerto Vallarta. Another home of the FIVB World Tour in 2014 and 15. Break from Tillmann, this time from the right side. So a break from Torres. Chance in transition to go back to twos, but as soon as the ball drifts on, who is waiting? Alix Tillmann, the most dominant blockers on this World Tour. Good timing and good vision in the block from Tillmann. The knuckle comes out usually when the ball is set a little bit too close, and when you have to pokey the ball around to try and generate some height to move the ball around the block. Tillmann adapts her timing well, but she also misses her serve. Talking of Puerto Vallarta, there's two stops there in 2014 and 15. Agatha Barbara won in 2014. Lara Ludwig and Kira Volkenhorst in 2015. So the two winners in Puerto Vallarta made the Olympic final in 2016, and you never know what's going to happen here in Cancun. It was a repeat of the World Championship final last time on the World Tour in Doha. Service pressure from April Ross. 2 points becomes 3. Change of ends. USA at the so-called good end when the the wind is blowing into the face. We have seen side winds. We've seen both teams in the warm-up working back sets just in case the side wind does start to appear. April Ross serving. Ross and Tillmann, who have just teamed up with Angie Akers, former USA International and Netherlands head coach, who moved back to the USA at a good time to make the AAA team. Oh, there's a block back. It's a fantastic block. A great watch from Torres. Reaching high, the outside hand is really aggressive. Good start to the good end for Mexico. Tillmann from the right side wants to get through this one. You could see it so early from Tillmann. The pass is straight in a good zone so the ball can get into her hitting window, and she charges her feet to the inside of the ball before hammering angle. Audacious swing from her. Low play once more from Mexico. And they're finding a way through Quintero. And when they're not trying to bring the ball off the net to make Tillmann break, they're trying to run the ball quicker to make a move. Good start to this second end here in the opening game of Pool A. If you are just joining us, it's the first game of the day here, 9 AM start time in Cancun. The wildcard team from Mexico, Maria, Quintero, Susana Torres, have pulled their socks up and they are battling really hard here, producing some really good volleyball. And they've got the number 1 seeds back to 1. April Ross passing off the net. Tillmann is moving everywhere due to the wind and the height of the first pass from April Ross. And all of a sudden, they're just nudging away here, Mexico. It's a fine performance at the good end. Service pressure, concentration face from Quintero. April Ross needing a side out here, where she went for power previously. She's gone just to play around the top of the block. Players are going to have to really look after themselves this week. Hydrate, keep the energy high. It is warm in the Cancun bubble. No block seen from April Ross this time. Looking for Olympics number 3. What a fine contribution she's made to the sport. One of the best we've ever seen in beach volleyball. April Ross, former world champion in Stavanger, now hitting from the centre. And she goes off, wrist away, off the top of the block. Comes in quite central, knows where the blocker is, but if she stays high enough, it's going to be very difficult for Torres to get into the airspace of April Ross and Alix Kleinman. It's only when they start to really try and hit steep that the blocker will have more of a chance. April Ross once more. A couple of looks of the court. High snap of the wrist from April Ross. Ross serving once more. This team have also had 7 wins on the AVP tour. Looking forward to when that also gets back underway. Lots of volleyball through the summer. The World Tour goes to Sochi, Ostrava and Stade before the Olympic Games. The Olympic cutoff point will be in Sochi. There's a net touch somewhere. There's a guilty party on that sand court. Two-point game to the USA. The coverage will continue the whole way through the day. Every court here from the FIVB Beach Volleyball World Tour, brought to you by myself, Louis Clayton, Lucas Noslo, Charlie Broom as well, joining us later in the second competition of the hub. Players have been arriving all week. Kleinman with another humongous block from the former indoor player, went to college at Stanford. And just seeing that the ball's underneath Quintero that time, delaying her timing in the block and really swatting well. Really is a stunning location. Side out's a strong one. Bump setting, beaten Ross over the right shoulder. If you play that hard to that area of court, it's very difficult to play defense anywhere above waist height. Swatting this time from Torres, but to no avail. I don't think it's quite panic station time for Ross Kleinman yet, but they are at the good end. Mexico are playing the conditions well, keeping the ball very, very deep on the Americans. Kleinman this time turns a wonderful back. It's a great camera angle as well, but the angle she turns from the approach line just turns it on the clock face from 12 to about 11 o'clock away from the defender. And that means we go to the technical timeout. 3-point lead, the number 1 seeds. Well, the action just doesn't stop here in Cancun for the next 17 days. Really, next game, we have Liliana and Elsa, the evergreen team from Spain, up against Chantal, Laboureur, and Sinja Tillmann from Germany. A team that have just come together really for this event. Sinja Tillmann, well, if she entered with her normal partner, they'd be the 7th German team on the list, so they wouldn't have played. Laboureur currently without a partner. Means this was a match made in heaven, as Laboureur has the points to qualify for the main draw. Interesting dynamic as Sandra Ittlinger now plays with Kim Behrens. That's a pair that played together in 2018. But also remember that Sinja Tillmann and Kim Behrens took a silver medal at the European Championships in Jurmala back in September. So that's coming up next. And also for Laboureur, she lost a place at the Olympics to Lily and Elsa back in Hyung in 2019. It was very, very close, playing with Ittlinger. They were 1-0 up actually before the experienced team from Spain come back, but we are back to the action here on the show court. And for the USA, it was a good start to win that opening point, but Mexico still refused to give in. The adjacent game in Pool A, it's been a good start for Borger and Suda from Germany. They've won the opening set against Bansley and Wilkerson, but the Canadian outfit are coming back in set 2. Remember, the winner of this game plays the winner of that game to see who wins the pool and goes straight into round 2. You think it becomes even more important in these conditions, in this heat, that the top-seeded teams try and make light work of this modified pool stage to avoid another game in that opening round to try and conserve some energy. Lovely touch over the top. Once more, you can see it clearly. The ball's off the net, trying to keep April Ross holding the angle, turning back to the line. Ross saw it, but it was too accurate for April Ross. Won 44 competitions, April Ross, in her career. Out of 124 events, that's some return. A lot of them on the AVP, but almost 30 on the World Tour as well. A really decorated career for one of the world's best. It's April Ross, 2 digs in a row for the 38-year-old. Hidden hammers angle, but waiting for it. Quintero unreal, but so's Kleinman. The celebrations, the body language from April Ross tells us just about everything there. She does not want to be digging too many balls. That wasn't a block from Kleinman. It was into the net from Quintero. The celebration clear from April Ross because she knew that she was chasing that line down. She was not going to make that cut shot that time. Ball's come over on 2. Strange decision from Torres. It gives a free ball to April Ross. She should put this away. High, deep, 60-70% swing. Strong enough to just edge the USA closer. 16-11. And will this be the year for April Ross to get a hat-trick of Olympic medals? Here she is once more, that high controlled swing, deep. Enough just to rock the Mexican boat and put them under a little bit of pressure. And cause the insecure touch. In 2016, April Ross qualified with Kerry Walsh-Jennings, a GOAT of the sport. They were the 3-seeded team, and the duo went undefeated in pool play. They were very much a favourite for the competition, but in the semi-final they lost to Agatha and Barbara, and they bounced back in the very next game to take the bronze against Larissa and Talitha. 2012 Ross qualified with Jen Kessie, 4th-seeded that time, also undefeated in pool play, which means that April Ross has never lost a game in the pool play of the Olympic Games. That's a good stat for April Ross. Serve from the US is long. Mexico back to 4. For Ross and Jen Kessie that year, they lost to Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Misty May, trainer, in the final of the Olympics. This year, all about the build-up to the Olympic Games. Also, the VNL is starting another bubble for indoor volleyball, so please keep an eye out for that. Coming in June, it's going to be an exciting format from the bubble, from Italy. All the world's best teams in the build-up to the Olympic Games. Another competition that Teams will want to win and to go into the Olympics with a very good feeling. Mexico will be feeling positive after this performance, I'm sure. Low set, moving Kleinman and going over the top. April Ross from the inside. And the turn from Torres. And it's huge from April Ross into the wind. She's hit that one super high, got the wrist over the top of it, and she's hung it out to dry. Made the ball dip and has just tagged the line. Super swing from Ross. Looks as if Ross and Kleinman made some magic over the past couple of years. Kleinman not the only one on the world tour to transfer from indoor volleyball. Maggie Koziuk is playing with Olympic gold medalist Lara Ludwig this week. Ludwig only playing in the first 2 events. Koziuk playing in all 3. Off the hands from Kleinman. Clear to see what their game plan is. Stay high, go over the top. With a few variations of your offense, and they're 2 away from the opener. Ace down the line for Kleinman. Match point has arrived in fairly fast time here in Quintana Roo. And first one for them, unfortunately, is into the net. Lily and Elsa are next up, already at the Olympics, as we mentioned earlier. They've spent their time in Tenerife. Be interesting to see how they fare against Germany in their opening game. But Mexico, in this first game of Pool A, have put up a great fight. April Ross to put this game to bed with the cut shot. It's a great swing from her. Wonderful precision and accuracy. Thumbs up all round to say thank you very much. But for the #1 seeds, carrying on this winning form after the Doha 4-star, the Qatari Cup, they made history that day in becoming the first women's team to win in Doha. And will they make history again, learning a new art playing on the backcourt? And it looks like she'll be playing on the backcourt for Chantal Laboureur today. Svenja Miller will be her blocker in the future, 1 meter 93 centimeters. Behrens now playing with Sandra Ittlinger, who's a former partner of Chantal Laboureur. I hope that makes sense. It's pretty complicated stuff, but what's not complicated is Laboureur has the first chance to really put the ball in the sand, but it's not a point for Germany. It goes the way of Lily. Lily, the left-sider. The winner of this first pool game in Pool D will play the winner of the world champions, Pavin and Melissa, #1 team in the world. And they're up against Japan's Chiyo and Sakaguchi, who came through the qualifier yesterday. That's going to be going on an adjacent court at the moment. Modified pool play means the winner plays the winner of the opening games, and the loser plays the loser. The winners are already through, but they play for a bye of round 1 straight into round 2, whereas the second place team in the pools will go into round 1. Scores from the other courts, big games early on. Kaiser Meppelink have just come through against Hermanova Slakova. And also Cuba qualifying 2 teams yesterday. It's not a big surprise to many. They're quiet on the World Tour, Cuba, but they always do pack a punch in world volleyball. Float serving really short from Tillmann. Tillmann Behrens were renowned in the way that they played the game for service pressure. Because they weren't the biggest at the net, it meant they had to serve tough, make breaks, or try and rock the opposition out of system. But it looks as if now serving, it looks with the wind behind, Tillmann's just taking a bit of pace off the ball, but then she speeds it up and she makes another ace. Big serving from Senior Tillmann. Wow. And we saw in the men's competition in Cancun that Evandro Guto teamed up for one event and one event only, and they got on like an absolute house on fire. And for Laboureur and Tillmann, they have got off to a dream start here in the dream location of the Grand Oasis in Cancun. 3 competitions in 17 days, and we're only 5 competitions away from the Olympic athletes being confirmed. It's big times in beach volleyball. The run-in to Tokyo is officially on. Lily and Elsa would be sat in 12th at the moment if they hadn't already qualified a place through Hyung. So consistency is key, as we spoke about before. 8 top 10 finishes in a row for Spain's #1 team. And you look at Lily, Elsa, Pereyra, Gavira, they've just had these unbelievably consistent careers where they're always in and around the top 10. Tillmann, robust swing. She started really well, Tillmann. She's in a breeze, passes in system, kicks out, drives back towards the ball and stays high. 3-point game. Laboureur serving. Really hitting the ball with a lot of side spin into the wind, but on 2 from an audacious angle is Lily. It's a straight pass, so that straight pass is complicated. It's difficult to really track as a spiker, but Lily makes it look easy. The backdrop here in Cancun is something I've never seen before in this sport. It really is stunning. Laboureur at high line. Lily and Elsa, 9th at the previous 2 Olympics. Laboureur would have qualified for the previous Olympics with Julius Suda. They were the #1 team in the world at one point, but for Laboureur and Suda, they didn't qualify because they were the 3rd ranked German team at the time. Carlo Borger and Britta Buter took the 2nd spot and took 9th at Rio. Remember, Germany won the Olympic Games in 2016. Lara Ludwig and Kira Volkenhorst, for many, one of the best teams we've ever seen. Physicality, great ball control, great technique. Ludwig going again today, though, with Maggie Kojuk. Kira Volkenhorst slowly on her way back domestically as well in beach volleyball after timeout to have a family and recover from injuries. Off the net spiking, great defensive positioning from Laboureur. Scampered up well from Elsa as well, but it's a little bit cagey at times. And having just spoke to Marco Klatiger moments ago, the Swiss blocker, his opinion on the proceedings is that as soon as the ball goes above 2 meters above the net, it really does start to catch the breeze, and it's a breeze that you really can't, well, it's not consistent, you can't predict it. Laboureur all over that one, with the pokey though in Germany. Flying. All Brazilian affair about to start as well. Agatha Duda, Tiana Victoria. Victoria, former age group winner. FIVB under 21 gold medalist, but so is Duda. Duda's won everything at age group level. There's a timeout from Spain here. Just trying to hit the leather off that one, Lily. And because of the windy conditions, it is more difficult to hit angles out there at the moment. But Germany and Cancun are looking as good as this beautiful setting. 5-point game. Good serving from Tillmann. Some inconsistencies from the Spanish.
United States of America against Austria. Y acá, la cancha central, Liliana y Elsa, Laboureur y Tillmann.
Well, as the teams make their way back onto the centre court, some big news already coming through here in Cancun onto the centre court is that Taliqua Clancy and Maria Faye Artacho playing their first competition since they won in Chetumal back in November 2019 have gone down to Cuba in 3 against Mylene and Layla. Once more, you just cannot ever count Cuba out. They're physical and they're a fantastic volleyballing nation. It does translate to beach volleyball, but Germany are also a fantastic beach volleyballing nation. Laboureur now has 96 tournaments to her name at 31 years old, based in Stuttgart, the blocker. The bump on 2. Difficult for Tillmann there, because Tillmann is really dialed in on Lily on the left side. She's watching for the spike, and she thinks that the set is coming because there's not an aggressive approach there from Elsa. So she starts to prepare to get her vision on the spiker, but instead, Elsa with a 2-ball, but another service mistake. They'll start to really cost Spain here. Tillmann to reload. All smiles and celebrations after that second place, formerly coached by Thomas Kazmarek. So far, biggest win for Tillmann on the World Tour was in Tokyo with Theresa Mersman. That was back in 2018, beating Anina Parkinen and Turu Leite in the final. Okay, firing up the furnace is Lily. Pressing, fast hands, good footwork, stepping, going super deep, really low, and the hands finishing strong. Back to 4. Serving into the breeze, ferocious ace. Block from Lily, an ace from Elsa. And the game looks a lot different going into the technical timeout. A 5-point game is squeezed and condensed to 3. Game on here in Cancun. The second, of 12 matches coming your way today. We are covering the whole event here from Cancun, from the bubble. Laboureur on the right side, Tillmann on the left. Jump float serving, flat, fast and over the shoulder. Nobody enjoys passing the deep ones, that's for sure. Especially in this breeze. The water really coming up close to the courts. It's absolutely stunning. Slightly softer serve. If there's one thing to learn about Laboreur's technique there, her passing platform and the stability behind the ball was absolutely perfect. Laboureur, free net. Spain love playing a bit of double defense. Not the biggest team on tour, Lily and Elsa. 5'10 and 5'11 respectively. Laboureur, when you're in a fiddle, go deep middle. Laboureur, 7 wins with Julia Suda on the CV and FIVB World Tour. And that golden run really, Yermila Barden, 2016-17, they were in great form, and it really did hurt Laboureur. Remember at the time she was really upset when Suda decided to team up with Borger. That was part of the decision of Maggie Kojuk to go and play with Laura Ludwig. There was a fallout of partners, and ended up that it was Ittlinger and Laboureur that teamed up together. Some good results from them, but really a good result here would put the cats amongst the pigeons for German volleyball. Wide play, no block. It's a late break from Lily, and it's Laboureur that slams another one to the line, jumping slightly inside out, but the elbow and the hand, the arm stays high and smooth. Great game, this one. Laboureur also having played with Kira Volkenhorst all the way back in Assen at the underage competition. And winning that European under-23 event against Russia in the final. Victoria Bienek taking a bronze that year as well, still playing this week. Bienek Schneider, German volleyball, is really well represented, and it's the fallout of really winning 2 gold medals consecutively, one in the men's in 2012 and one in the women's in 2016. Beach volleyball just growing and growing and growing. Some very smart heads in the game. Some very smart players too, as Laboureur goes back to the line, this time higher, where Lily broke last time. Elsa decided to stay up and she got bypassed by Laboureur. Good matchup this for Germany. 6 points the difference. Break from Laboureur. Chance to steal another one. First competition for this pairing. And it's a dream start, it really is. No pressure on this pairing, and if you think if Tillmann would have played with Müller, she would not have been in the main draw, but now she's serving 7 points to the good here. Elsa falls way inside, no chance of getting a spike on that one. Really nice platform again. Look how long Laboureur holds the platform, how stable she is, and how that tempo leads to her being in rhythm for her spiking. It is raining points for Germany here in Cancun. And from wherever you're watching from today, I'd be surprised if you did not want to be sat on that beach. The World Tours passed through Chetumal 18 months ago. That's around about a 4.5-hour drive away from Cancun. Bypass Tulum on the way as well, and some lovely tourist attractions. Great part of the world. And Mexico's commitment to developing beach volleyball is one to really admire as well. 7-point game in system. Tillmann the target now. She's blocked. It's a good change up for Spain. Just nudging and nurling back into this one. Goes with the southpaw, Tillmann. And again, that's just due to the wind blowing the ball across the hitting window. Players ideally want that ball falling right above their strongest shoulder. Problem is when it's windy, it's very hard to judge. Hence you lose power, angles. Sometimes you have to hit with your weak hand. That was not weak by any sense of the equation from Spain. Elsa, look at the touch. Full stretch, but balanced. And then with the vision, it's good setting from Lily as well. Maybe they're saving their best till last here, Spain. Time out here in Cancun. And it was a term that was used from Sarah Pavin and Melissa Humana Paredes. So I keep pinching, but they've already qualified for the games, Canada, as in Spain. So they're using these competitions as measuring sticks to see how they're getting on, to see what teams are doing around them, and to keep growing. Fantastic shots from the team as well. Lily and Elsa playing smart. Tillmann, not the biggest blocker on tour, so dropping it short. It's going to tease her, make it difficult for her to turn and play defense. Laboureur and Tillmann have had it all their own way till now. Deflection off the net, but Tillmann with the perfect pass. It's exactly where you want it. But the set just draws off the net, and because of that, Tillmann gets caught underneath the ball, and the arm can't come through as aggressively, and that's why the ball ends up going out. From a very good situation, it's another point for Spain that potentially should have been Germany's. Back set this time, Laboureur. Hard hands high from Lily, going low and deep in the block once more. It's Elsa that sweeps up. Chance in transition, huge point. Lily is screaming. And you can understand every single reason why. They're clawing this one back. Yes, some errors from Germany, but mostly good plays from Spain. Pavin and Melissa. The other game currently taking place in Pool D. The world champions are winning that one by 3 points in the opening set against Japan. This windy beach could be a little bit of a leveler for some of those teams. It's Germany, free net for Tillmann. Goes with the hammer. Nobody taking the power line from Spain. All too rushed in their block defense. Tillmann. Well, Germans are known for being very good technical beach volleyballers. You look at Tillmann's arm swing in the air. The elbow's high, it draws back. That gives her more power, gives her more angles. You look at the likes of Clemens Wickler, who's not here this week. Clemens Wickler, appendicitis. Not ideal time for Wickler. But this has been an ideal time for Laboureur and Tillmann to get together. More full stretch, athletic touches from Laboureur. Just can't quite get around the ball to create an angle, but you have to give her an A star for effort. Spain need to keep pushing. Laboureur the target. Another wonderful pass. The platform is really strong in these conditions. It really is long, slow, guiding pass. The tempo is good for Tillmann to put the set into a good zone. Laboureur does the rest. 4 set points for Germany. Spin serve for Tillmann. This is what we became fully aware of when Tillmann took the silver medal at the CV Euro Volley 2020. But she's continued the good form since then. Yes, it's a makeshift pairing for these first 2 competitions. But it's a sight to behold, this pair. Physical, great ball control, good technique, good decision making on the net. It's Germany that take the opening set here against a very experienced Spain. Spain have a little bit of soul searching to do in the dugout. Some shots of a great first set performance from Germany. Tillmann playing more defense than what we ever saw her play with Kim Behrens, but it's an adaptation that has happened. She's joined the federation, the teams within the German program. Laboureur and Tillmann split blocking for the majority of this one though. Split blocking teams are starting to become a rarity as players are trained in specialist positions. It's good to be able to do both. And Spain are off to another good start off the net. Good swing, really deep, especially with that breeze behind. Keeping the opposition deep is a smart idea. Making that court bigger for the team playing into the wind is a good option. Tillmann this time putting the ball in the slot. This from the middle, it's away. That's a really tough swing from Tillmann because the ball's on a long angle. She has to chase that ball and then to be able to let the arm open and go wrist away. It's not the easiest swing. From there, the easiest swing would be to go to the line. But this game is about making the other team do something technically difficult to beat you, and that's what Lily does in return. Shows the line and just guides the ball away. Shows one way and says, No. I'm going to go the other. The teams will have a couple of days off in between competitions. The only way that you would play every day here in Cancun is if you had to go through the country quota to the gold medal match every single time. Looking at the country quota this week, there was some battles from the American and Brazilian point of views. In the women's competition, Soria made it through with Tiana. Actually knocked out Barbara, Olympic silver medalist. Some of these country quota games are just brutal. The high bump into the middle. Not the point with the most flair that we're going to see today, but they're all the same currency, these points in beach volleyball. All back set to the line. How do you like that, Spain? Really good in these conditions. Maybe the wind started to blow from the ocean a bit more. The more of a side wind that you see, you'll see Tillmann running more back sets, and maybe Elsa as well from this end. The ball's dropping inside, so that also shows that the wind is maybe coming off the ocean here in the morning session in Cancun. Germany running back sets to really absorb the wind. The ball getting caught inside of Elsa, but Spain that lead by 1. Laboureur trying to pick Lily to the line. She passes on big angles off the net. Maybe there's no line available there for Elsa, but it doesn't really matter. You can see her have a little look at the court, and she's just fading away with a high arm. And when the ball starts to travel bigger distances in these breezes, it's a tough old day out there for these teams, especially in the heat as well. But the wind is making the heat slightly more bearable. Perfect beach volleyball conditions, really. The warm and the setting. Tillmann again slides another ball past Lily. And every time you start to move the ball from an offensive perspective, it makes it tougher for the blocker. It's not all about hitting the spaces in beach volleyball. It's 100% about going off the hands as well, testing the player, watching for the defender in some situations, watching for the blocker in others. 6-4 Spain. Service pressure is going up a notch here. Laboureur out of system, can only really go to the line. Ball's inside, so the cut shot's out from Elsa. Back in transition. Laboreur's been scooped. The reactions from Lily is sublime. This rally is one of the better ones of this second set. Tillmann breaking block of Lily. What a camera angle this one is as well. Shows us just about everything. Hats on the floor. Everything's gone. Chase is on. Back on 1. It's recycled again. It's very warm out there. These players are going to struggle their way through. Lily and Elsa are padding the ball back on 1 as quickly as possible. Almost Laura Ludwig-esque every single time. And Tillmann's on the floor as well. Something has to give here. It's over 30 degrees. And this rally has been going on for some time. And no one has got any gas left in the tank. Look at all 4 players in this heat. Someone may have to call a timeout here. It gets to the point where Elsa's like, absolutely not. I can't go again. A pause here to make sure that everyone is okay, and maybe a timeout as well. Not one player out there who's not looking exhausted. this sport takes some level of fitness and endurance. Laboureur to get us back underway after what was a marathon last rally. It really was. Opportunity from Laboureur. Back to the line, full stretch, diving. Almost celebrations of relief. It's another breath that all 4 players can get. We're still some time away from the medical timeout, and really neither team would want to call a timeout at 6-6 this early in the set. Chop shot, but Elsa's jumping off her toes this time. Ball's just blowing away from it. Again, another good look from Elsa. Still recovering from the marathon rally. Let's call it that. It's a marathon rally. Lily still trying to stay dry out there. Service error from Elsa. It'll be interesting to know how much that marathon rally actually played a part in that service error. Obviously, when you're tired, you have long rallies. The first thing to go is your focus. Let's just say not one of those players are walking too fast here in Cancun. Standing spin serve from Tillmann. Again, that might just be to preserve some energy. We saw the jump serve earlier on. Set's really tight. Close to a net touch, but no from Laboureur. The rest and recovery here for the players is going to be vital this week in Cancun. And it looks like there is a timeout from Lily and Elsa. They've lost control of this second set. They started really well. They were a couple of points up, weren't they? But the marathon rally came and went, and they've really had to recover. Wet towels, probably with ice around the neck. And for anyone thinking that being a professional beach volleyball player is easy, think again. degrees this morning in Cancun, with highs of 31 today. From it's paradise, isn't it? Doesn't get much better than what we're seeing at this moment. Serve from Tillmann, standing spin serve again. That's a big serve into the breeze, serving directly into the breeze with venom. Putting an extra 20-30% with a little bit of spin, or a lot of spin and a lot of power into that one. And the ball's dipping in the back corner. Germany all of a sudden look like they might just sneak this 2-0 after a slow start in this second set. Still the big result of this morning. Layla and Maylene from Cuba, who qualified yesterday, have beaten Clancy and Altacho del Sola from Australia. Remember, they've not been on the World Tour Australia for 18 months, but nor have Cuba. So no excuse there really for the Australians, but we just know Cuba are always better than what we ever expect. You can't back against them. You can't back against Lily and Elsa, even though we've seen some signs of tiredness already. Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat have actually gone down in the first set to Australia. They need a big result this week. The race for the second spot to the Olympics from the USA is really worth a watch. You've got 4 teams fighting for 2 spaces. Kerry Walsh-Jennings, Brooke Sweat currently have that second place. But what they can't afford to do is go home early, because Sarah Sponsor, Kelly Kais have already gone out in the qualifier yesterday to Brazil. Sweat and Walsh-Jennings, well, they're 10-8 up in that second set. In the game that's in the same pool as this one, Pool D, Pavan and Melissa are 1-0 up and winning in the second set as well. So it looks as if at this moment in time, the winner of this game will play the world champions to see who wins Pool D. Hopefully that makes sense. Modified pool play. It's not everyone plays everyone. It's the winner of the first pool game against the winner of the second pool game. The 2 losers meet as well to see who goes through. Bottom placed in the pool will go, I would say go home, but the teams are staying this week for 3 weeks. On the turn, Senior Tillmann. The tide has been turned here for Germany in the second. Miraculous stuff. Tillmann and Laboureur look like a short-term match made in heaven for Germany. Scoop from Tillmann. Remember, it used to be a blocker. It's not easy transferring skills out there. They're two very different defensive positions. Tillmann on the fade this time, falling away with the high arm. Technical timeout has come again. The players get a rest here in the 30-degree heat. Comes in line. Everything's going line before turning the ball back to the angle in between Lily and Elsa. Well, well, well. Good game. And when you hear that song in the background on the World Tour, it usually means the Duda's in town. Purring at Agatha. Look like they're going to beat the qualifiers, Diana and Victoria. 13-8 up in the second set. One of the best swings of this set from Tillmann. Really enjoyed that one. Everything going to the line before turning it really, really late. Well, the next game up here, the Americans, Stockman and Kolinske, they had a great result in Doha, making the final for the 12 seeds. They're up against the Argentinian team of Gallay and Pereyra. Gallay, former winner of the Pan American Games. But Stockman and Kolinske, well, they'll be looking at the draw here and thinking they have another opportunity to close this 400-point gap on the teams that they're chasing. Cross line from Elsa. It's a really good swing. Super dynamic with the arms. Everything's facing straight. Arm works back across the body. Tillmann passing straight, coming in on an angle, working away. It's really a key performance indicator, that wrist away, especially really more so on the left side. You say it's important on both, though. The most natural swing for most players is to come through the body, not away from the body line where the wrist generates pace and spin away from the body. They are absolutely on point here, Germany. 4-point lead. And since the marathon rally earlier on, Lily commits with that second ball but takes an area. Elsa not sweeping up behind. Germany have been the better team. They've served with more venom. They really have put Spain under all sorts of pressure. Standing shot game, that's usually safe for a warm-up, but because of the out-of-system play, it does give a free opportunity for Laboureur. Been concise. They've been persistent. You have to give Germany that. And they've been consistent as well. Spain's passing have gone astray. They have to find a way of pulling their pass back together here. It's difficult when Germany are serving so strongly from the back line, but Spain have to keep concentration. They've taken their foot off the accelerator. Germany have taken advantage. Better platform from Elsa. The set's off the net this time from Lily. It gives Laboureur a chance to hunt another one down. 7-point game. Clutch swing from Germany. Four away from taking this one 2-0. Quicker than anyone would have really have planned. Yes, on paper, Tillmann, Laboureur are a very strong side. But the experience, 2 Olympic Games in the bag for Lily and Elsa. More standing shot stuff. It looks like the long rally earlier on. See how they recover later on in the competition. Germany look like they have the bit between their teeth here. Break is good from Laboureur. There's no touch on the net, or is there a touch on the net? Doesn't matter. The reverse bump cutty is really gnarly for Spain from Germany. They're keeping Elsa on the move, and Elsa doesn't want a bit of it out there. Stockman, Kolinske up next, especially with the way that sponsor guys haven't gone through the qualification this week. You have to feel sorry for that American team because they always have to be in the qualifier at the moment. It makes life more difficult for them. They squeezed through against the Netherlands in Doha, but not yesterday against Brazil. But for Stockman and Kolinske, they made 560 points in Doha. That was almost an advantage of 300. And that closed the gap between them and the team who are in second place at the moment, Brooke Sweat and Kerry Walsh-Jennings. And if they can make another podium or final four, they really do give themselves a chance. It all depends on what every team are doing. Obviously, it does them no favours if Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat are also in the final of this competition, but so far they're not having it all their own way on the outside courts. Chase is on. The core skills of Lily and Elsa starting to falter, and because of that, Germany have got multiple 9 match points here for the German pair. Fortunately, the first one's into the net, but the first that they come out all guns blazing, you have to give Germany that. They're a new pair. They haven't got anything to lose. This relationship is going to be short-lived for Laboureur and Tillmann, but they've put Spain under pressure the whole way through the game, and the only time that Spain really looked into this one was at the start of the second. Then we had that marathon rally that seemed to go on for years. Second one saved though for Spain, and since then Spain have looked defeated. Germany have taken this one by the scruff of the absolute neck. And they still have another 7 set points. 2 save from Spain, but it's going to be too little too late. Great timeout, though, from Germany. They've sensed a Spanish comeback, and they've said, hang on, let's take a little break here in Cancun. Maybe just enjoy the view, because it's almost a formality here. Spain need a miracle. Highlights of some long rallies. Not that time, maybe. That one rally that went on longer than this entire pandemic. Laboureur and Tillmann. Laboureur on the right-hand side in this bubble, created by the FIVB. A fantastic bubble safety. 700 tests this week. More so now. No positive tests. You have to give credit to the organisers. Next Beach Volley as well. You can find them on Instagram, Beach Volleyball World. The content of creating this safe bubble for the athletes. Game 2 of the day on centre. Laboureur passing a little bit close. Chance to make another one in a row. They've had a good run here. 3 in a row already for Spain, but there's a net touch against Lily, and Germany have sealed the deal here on the beaches of Cancun in Quintero. Well, they're a new team. They're waving to each other. Great sportsmanship, but they serve well. They mix up the block defense, and they've cruised to an opening victory here in Pool D. That means that they're already through to the knockout rounds tomorrow, but first they're going to have to play to win the pool to see if they're going to be in round 1, or they're going to skip that as a reward straight to round 2. Up in 2019, playing almost the whole season. Itamima in Brazil, Ostrava, also the World Championships in Hamburg, where they took a 17th place. That was a really good result for them. It made them a main draw team due to the points in the World Championships being worth so much more than a 4-star event. But it's the Americans who get us going, and it's a great side out from Pereyra to get us underway. But for Stockman, Kolinske, They sit 640 points behind Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat, who have just lost the first set in their game against Austria, but come back to win it. So they're guaranteed a place in the knockout rounds. That's a big win for Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat. They're also up against Sarah Sponsel and Kelly Claes, who got knocked out in the qualifier yesterday. You have to feel sorry for them in the qualifier. It's a disadvantage for that team. But for Stockman, Kolinske, that fourth in Doha has got them right back in the mix, that's for sure. And speaking to Stockman earlier on in the week, she was saying that they were definitely happy, delighted with their performance in Doha. Stockman sweeping, chance with no one in to block. It's a really great bit of work back across the body, working the angle away from the defender. Stockman saying that they've been cleaning some stuff up since Doha, adding a couple more wrinkles to their game. Excited to really compete for their place in Tokyo. They're up against the most decorated beach volleyballer ever in Olympic history in Kerry Walsh-Jennings. 3 golds and 1 bronze medal for the GOAT of Olympic beach volleyball. They run some slightly quicker tempos and some 2 balls, Stockman and Larson, led by Evie Matthews and Jennifer Snyder. Kolinske serving and running in. Good feet, fast plays from Argentina, good hands from Kolinske. Really is. Kelly Kolinske's husband also in the country quota this week. Unfortunately not making it out of that battle. Billy, a fine blocker himself. Kolinske again with a rocket of a serve in to the breeze. Oh, that one's maybe 7 touches from Gallay. Double touch from the 35-year-old. From Ancharios. Some big upsets already today. The Australians going down to Cuba. Cuba always underestimated in this game as there's a foot fault against Kolinske, but the USA will be happy with their start. They've won the first end into this breeze. From where I'm setting, it feels as if the breeze is coming from the top right of your screen to the bottom left, which means that channel is the one really to attack to make the ball do the most into the wind from the serve. Fernanda Pereyra from San Juan to serve. 6 foot tall, the blocker in this Argentinian team. Indoor volleyball, a big sport in Argentina. The likes of Fernando Conte in the men's game. Velasco, one of the best coaches that's ever walked the planet as well. It's famous for volleyball, but now beach volleyball is well on the map. The 2 balls coming from the USA, and that's a really good, smart play from Stockman. It's put on a plate from Kolinske really on 2. The blocker Pereyra is nowhere near the net, so it really does open up a lot of space to attack. And there's a timeout from Argentina. It's the USA that have had a fine start here, and they need it because although they have confidence coming in from Doha, a good start here in the win. If they win, they're going head-to-head, toe-to-toe with Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat, and that's what they need here. They win this, they're into the next round. Modified pool play, remember, for anyone who's new to the game, means it's not the system where everyone plays everyone. Top seed plays bottom seed, 2 plays 3 in the pool. The winners play the winners, the losers play the losers. If you lose both games, you go home. If you can make 1 win, you're guaranteed to go through. If you win both games, you're going straight into the second round. Nina Hobie will get us back underway. Sure, she hasn't refereed too many sweeter spots than this, and she's an experienced referee on the World Tour, but it's paradise, isn't it? Very tight. And with Kolinske at the net, Kolinske is 6'2". She will be all over anything that's super tight or overpassed. She was the youngest, part of the youngest team to win an AVP event in 2015 when she won all 5 matches in Cincinnati with Betsy Flint. Big from Argentina, straight to line, Pereyra. Maybe that's one way, making the USA blockers move a little bit and then just squeeze them to the line. Slightly off the net with the pass, but Gallay's there once more, just sat in the pocket, just tracking the power line of the spiker. They're hustling it out here, Argentina and the USA. We've had a couple of big rallies already today. 4 players in the last game gasping for air at the end of it. We might see it here as well. It's Lily and Elsa who was suffering. It's 30 degrees out there. Yes, there's wind that cools it down a little bit, but all in all, it is a tough shift out there with big rallies. The bump jumbo into the corner. Wow. That's what we came to see. Ball just blowing away from Gallay. Throwing some funky shapes in frustration after. For Kolinske and Stockman, they have a 5th place. So to go to the Olympics, your best 12 results count. They played 16 events, so now they have to replace results with better results if they want to go to the Olympics. And their 5th place at the 3-star in Quintero is up for grabs. That was 360 points, so that's one that could be replaced here with a good result. World Tour Finals in Rome was a 9th, and really in Hamburg, a 17th place finish cost them, because if they could have replaced that 17th place finish with a 5th or a 9th, those are the margins we're talking to go to an Olympic Games. There's nothing in it at the moment, especially in the American camp on the men's and the women's side of things. The Cancun bubble is going to provide some drama, that's for sure. 2 missed serves in a row for Argentina. You can't do that against a world-class outfit. Kolinske and Stockman. Super deep serve. It's a really good serve into that breeze, and it's as good a swing to get herself out of that one. From Pereyra. There's been a change of sides, which caught myself off guard in Doha as well for Kolinske and Stockman. It's Stockman on the left side now who just nurdles the ball to the line. 4 wins for Stockman in her career. 1 in Langkawi with Kim DeCello. 1 Caitlin Ledoux as well. And an AVP win with Kelly Kolinske. There's 2 wins actually with Caitlin Ledoux in the career of Emily Stockman. AVP, one of the most dominant tours in world beach volleyball. Looking forward to that coming back on our screens as well. But Argentina started slowly, but they're starting to find a bit here. Ace. And maybe that's just the way they're going to play. They're going to give it full throttle from the back line, full risk for full reward. Or they're going to miss a few on that journey as well. But for Pereyra, it's a robust serve. Good camera angle from behind the server as well. A couple of deep breaths to regain the focus. Can Argentina start to put a bit of pressure on the Americans and start to tamper with their Olympic dream? Great recovery setting. Kolinske, but the ball's too straight from Stockman on that left side. And that's why she goes straight to Kolinske to congratulate her partner for the setting. Stockman will be serving from Colorado. Been playing all the way since 2009. She made her debut. Emily Stockman. There's another point for the USA. She's trying to squeeze the ball through the block, but not this time for the team in green. We go to technical timeout. It's a 5-point game as that camera just shows us the spectacular views of the ocean once more. Tight setting. That's a big net touch, isn't it? Almost bringing the house down. Pereyra Gallay thought that was a point to the Argentinian team. No net touches allowed. Chance to just catch focus, catch breath. Wonder what Nina Hobie's doing up there. Sun cream, one would think, after the Austrian winter. It's actually one thing that Nina Hobie and Kolinske have in common. They were both proposed to in a beach volleyballing stadium by their other halves. Can't be too many people in world volleyball who have that in common. Great break from Kolinske. Knuckle, this time into the net, almost doing a limbo underneath the bottom of the net band from the American. Kolinske played really well with Betsy Flint as well, but this just seems to be a great match. The progression that they've shown underneath Schneider, especially in the last year or so, Stockman and Kolinske, you feel that this 4-year quad for them has really come at a good time in their improvements. Also, the break in play due to COVID has done them the world of good. They've come back stronger. They look really good offensively. They run the two ball a lot. They run different offenses. They make it really difficult for the opposing team. And it's funny to see that this pandemic, the extra year of training with not many events, would have done the world of good for some teams. And Stockman, Kolinske are one of those teams. A quick wipe of the glasses for Pereyra. And Gallay took a second in Xiamen in 2015, so she's medalled on the World Tour. So experience here between a Pan Am Games gold medal and a second on the World Tour, and that's why. That's as delicate as it comes, but she's showing so much line, and what she's doing with showing that line is baiting Stockman and Kolinske into thinking that the ball's going that way and then turning it back with the wrist. Power line first, keep an eye on that, and then you have to watch the wrist back there to play some defense. This is better from Argentina. Maybe it's not too little too late. Certainly not too little too late before the second set when they're just gaining momentum all the time. Off the hands this time, Stockman. Good work with the feet. Dynamic in the offensive approach as well. Stockman teeing something up here from the baseline, stepping in to play a little bit of defense, starting very centrally, tracking the hitter all the way. Goes jumbo, but a couple of little steps, light steps from Stockman, makes that look really, really easy. The thing is, in the blustery winds, makes it really difficult to hit angles away from the body. 4 will do it for the USA, looking to keep pushing towards an Olympic place after the success in Doha. Stockman saying to me earlier in the week that it's made them hungry for medals, Doha. To get to a Final 4 and not take a medal home was actually disappointing. Yes, it helps them for the Olympics, but actually the disappointment of not making a medal is driving this team towards their Olympic goals as well. Big blocking from Kolinske, no way through for Pereyra. Well, this is Paul Lee that's going to be tightly contested. Kolinske 2 in a row. It's one thing having quick hands, but it was the quick feet that joined the hands that was delightful there. A couple of little steps and quick presses. Winner of this game plays the winner of Hubeli and Beschart, team who made a 4th place in Hamburg 2019 in the World Championships. And Liliana Sanchez, one of those 2 Cuban teams. Remember, the other Cuban team have already beaten Australia here, which is a big turn up for the books. But the right-handed hammer from Stockman, who's not really put a foot wrong in this opening set. They've been steady, they've been relentless, and now they have set point. Hubli Beschart down to Cuba in the opening game for both of those teams in Pool E. And you just, I would say I can't believe that Cuba, both teams are making only their second or third appearance in a World Tour competition. They said yesterday they don't usually play because of the travel, but this one's close to home. They had to make it, and it was 3 events in quick succession. But back to this one, it's the USA, 2 stopped in a row. Pereyra huge. The set's a little bit tight. From Stockman, Kolinske gets shut down. Strong left hand, knows the knuckles coming. Third set point for the USA. Comfortable still. Kolinske to put this one to bed. Hammer to the line, there you have it. Team who took a 4th in Doha a month ago have hit the ground running in Mexico as well. 21-12. They've taken the opening set. Argentina, well, they were getting better throughout the opener here, but still some improvements to make in their consistency. It's all about the USA so far. Blocks on the cross court. Defense is running to the line. Kolinske sees everything. Slots the ball away. Wow, fascinating. If Cuba can send 2 teams through the qualifier, if they both win their opening game, they will be into the knockout phases already, playing for a spot in round 2. What a fairy tale story. This is not about Olympic qualification for Cuba, but they are proving a point here in Cancun. Hubli Beschart are no mugs on this World Tour. They look like they're going to an Olympic Games as well. Christoph Diekmann, the head coach of Hubli Beschart, a legend of the game himself, playing a lot with his brother Marcus, coach of Germany. Christoph playing for Germany as well, but now coaching Switzerland, living in Greece. Few cheers for Argentina in Cancun. It's a lovely lofted high line. Doesn't want to take Kolinske on for power. Take her on for height. Stockman was parked on the angle, still and very calm. Out of system. Chance for Argentina again. You can see it so early throughout the rally. The angle of the pass is off. And very, very central. It's always going to make it difficult to get it into the hitting window above your right shoulder if you pass off and central. Do more work with your feet. 2 errors in a row. This is unlike Kolinske Stockman in the opening set, and it looks as if there's a change of sides coming here. Gallay can see everything, and it's going to be interesting if they stay. No, they don't stay. They go with the wind. The wind is going in that exact corridor, and it doesn't matter who's hitting right side. They're keeping the serve into the same area because, as we mentioned earlier, the wind is coming from the top right of your screen to the bottom left. Gallay is not serving a person here. She's serving directly into that wind to make it difficult. The wind is then blowing the ball inside on the set, and it's really throwing the USA off. They could potentially start to think about using a back set here, the USA. There's a point for Kolinske Stockman. Wins already for Alix and April, the #1 seeds. Also Bansley and Brandy. So they will play off later on to see who wins Pool A. More hustling at the net from Kolinske. Big match in Pool B to see who leaves the competition. Clancy Artaccio up against Hermanova Slakova to see who will take a 25th. Neither of those teams would have wanted a 25th. The seeding said that Cuba should have taken the 25th, but they've upset the odds and beaten the top seeded team in that group. Great work from Gallay. She's really stacking over on that left side because she's reading the game nicely. Another opportunity from the middle. Overhand defense is coming over. The bump is seen from Stockman. Standing roll shot is good. It's another mega rally here. And this is just going to puff the athletes out for sure. Unless someone can kill it. No, it's an error from Stockman on the left side. Argentina have had a dream start to set number 2. And if they can keep up this momentum, it's going to be the USA who are going to be feeling the pressure. Their Olympic dream is still very much alive. They have it all to do. They won't be thinking about that right now, but if it starts to get close, you never know where the mind may drift to. Wins for Agatha Duda, wins for Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooke Sweat. They will play for top place in Pool C. Laboureur and Tillmann, we saw them last out on centre court. They were fantastic. The change of ends, good for the Americans. They now have the favoured end. So let's see how they get to work here. And in this game, it's sometimes in these competitions, you start to treat every end as a small-sided game. Win the good end by as many as possible and then just consolidate at the weaker end and see if you can just maybe lose a 4-3 and win a 5-2 at the good end. Bumps coming over. Oh, bump jumbo again. We saw it in the opener from Argentina on the USA. What you give is what you get, Argentina. Big serve, straight down the same corridor. From the bottom right-hand side of your screen to the top left, straight into that breeze, which is coming back the other way. Kolinske did not enjoy passing down that corridor, so she wants to give Argentina a taste of their own medicine. 5-5, good run. Oh, that one's almost ended up in the ocean. Bit of a spatch from Kolinske, but a good run all the same. Back to Laboureur and Tillmann. They will play Pavan and Melissa to top Pool D. Pavan and Melissa working hard towards the Olympics. They know they're going due to winning the World Championship in Hamburg. From the right side, big. In the right place, Gallay, but at the same time, the height, 6'5" from Kolinske. And she can see the defender and she can still take her out. Absolutely no problem for the USA. Well, next up on centre court, one more female game before it switches to the men's side of the draw. It's Spain up against Mexico. And then Anders Mol and Christian Soren, playing their first tournament since Rome in 2019, are playing against the Mexicans as well. Looks like they've been adding a few different offensive strategies to their armory as well. Some jump setting, some faster plays as well. They play the up and down game so good. Anyway, back to this one. 1 point the difference. The backspin knuckle is golden from Stockman. A little nod, almost a little smile as well from Stockman, because USA didn't start this set so well at the weekend, but they've won the strong end just as comfortably as the Argentinians. Some deep breaths already as we reach the second set. It's always difficult in 30-degree heat. Sam Pedalo posting his fitness stats from yesterday, dropping so many calories in one game. These qualifiers have to stay hydrated, have to stay energized, these players. The high line is smuggled to the side of the block. Kolinske, the target, who left Pepperdine as the all-time most winningest player with 101 victories. That's a great record. Pepperdine, obviously one of the best programs in the world of university volleyball, college as it's called in the States. high left-handed play to the back corner is a good one. And the change of ends into this breeze is causing chaos. If you're playing at this moment on the right-hand side of the screen, it's a far more difficult game than if you're playing on the left of the screen. And you know it's difficult beach volleyball conditions when you see the kite surfers out to play.
El próximo partido, México contra España. Víctor contra Tony.
So the wind very much here in Cancun, but the ball control of these players is so good you wouldn't see it, but it is coming. You can see the waves coming in the same direction as the wind, and that's why you're seeing the players serve from the right corner to the left straight into that breeze. Speaking to the players earlier on today, saying anything above 2 meters, it really does get caught in the wind. Keeping that first touch low is key, but for Gallay, mostly her serving. Pereyra also effective, going deep down that same channel. Ball's inside again, but the height of Kolinske is good. There was no line that time, and it's funny to see Gallay bank so far on the line to access the line with that serve on such an angle, with that breeze blowing it back across. Everything's going against the right side of the court for Kolinske there. Had to go to the left. One-handed plug, chases on for Stockman. Kolinske's on the net. It's a good position for Kolinske. Gallay's there once more. This one's really starting to heat up, but it's almost as if that ball was slightly too tight. And look at the reaction. Frustration. Because it's only 1 point, and yes, they all mean the same, but at this moment in time, with the wind the way that it is, Gallay just won't want to give up the serve. It's key to success in Cancun at the moment, is serving well and holding that serve for as long as you possibly can. Again, more cross-court work. This time Pereyra pats over the top. It's a good swing. She knows exactly where the blocker is. Kolinske, 6'5", won't want to break too much. We saw the same with Kleinman. Teams trying to make them break all the time. Bigger blockers will want to stay up there and block. That's what they're designed to do. To the middle. Kolinske, high once more, makes it look very easy. Same defensive patterns from Argentina. Blocking the cross, hanging on to the line. The chances of Kolinske going to the cross court's far higher at the moment in this wind, and if they can conquer that one, Argentina, they will put more pressure on the USA, that's for certain. The Rakers are out. We go to the technical timeout. Argentina, well, they were pushing really hard throughout this second set, but the USA is still looking strong here. They're starting to find some side-out rhythm from the weekend. Well, the Olympic race is on. We're going to be watching this team throughout the week and how they compare with Kerry Walsh-Jennings and Brooks Sweat. We're also going to be keeping an eye on the American race. Trevor Crabb and Tri Bourne. After the disappointment of not going to Doha because they lost in the country quota, they've had more luck this week. Got a bye in the quota due to a knee injury to Casey Patterson. And they also got a bye into the main draw as well due to a withdrawal. Pumped up Argentina. They're an emotional nation on the volleyball court, and it's starting to show, and maybe it will just drag them over the line. Ball's drifting once more. It's the left hand of Gallay that does the damage. Short serving on the opposite angle as the previous one. More cross-court play from Kolinske. Chance for Stockman on the left side to bring it back to one taken. Clutch swing, key time. Super dynamic out the sand. Good arms from her. The back set is too tight this time. Watching everything is Kolinske. Hubeli Beshart win the first set. The other pool play game in Pool E. That means that they have the advantage against Lily and Sanchez, who beat the other Swiss team, Zoe Verger-Dupree and Esme Bobner, yesterday. So the coaching staff of Switzerland would have got a very good read against the Cubans today for this game for Hubeli Beshart, but it's just as close. It's just as close as this game, really. USA take the lead for the first time. They didn't have the lead throughout the early stages, did they? After losing the first end 5-2, they lead by 1. There's a timeout here on the show court at the Grand Oasis in Cancun. Anna Gallay is so experienced, even on the World Tour. Made her debut in 2007 in Fortaleza. Some really good results, though, throughout her career. In Opens, a 5th in Phuket back in 2013. Lots of wins on the continental tours as well. The Pan American Games was huge in 2015, taking the first place. Big for Argentinian beach volleyball, but it's the USA who are now nudging back out of system. It's very close to the net, and in those 50-50 situations, it's almost slightly easier for the smaller player to push up against the towering blocker, and that's an example of that. One player's pushing up, the other's pushing down. The winner is the one who can push up and off. One point. Pereyra serving. Jumping into the angle. Very late. Fernanda Pereyra. Stockman is stopped and going to the good end. Not just in touch, but you'd say that with the advantage here now, Argentina, because they have 7 points serving from the good end. Or not serving, but with the option or the opportunity to serve into this breeze. Focus will be key in the success of the Argentine pair in the coming moments. Fernanda Pereyra to serve. To the line to Stockman now. Recovery setting almost from Kolinske because she's under a bit of pressure. It's a great pass, really. If you pass in front, then your vision is always going to be better as a spiker. Kolinske just has to put the brakes on slightly, elevate the ball a little bit more. Waiting patiently behind is Stockman. Pereyra the target. It's a good side out previously from the USA. It really was, because it takes the pressure away from them. Back set, nurdled cut shot. The USA have gone to the weaker end and played some of their best volleyball in this set in the past 2 phases of play. They found their pass. They found their first touch, which makes everything so much easier. More line play this time from Gallay. They refuse to give in here, Argentina. Again, not always around your final fours, but good performances, top 10 results on the World Tour. You don't get those sorts of results unless you're a very good team and very well drilled. And with Gallay, so much experience. She puts that ball into the perfect spot for Pereyra. puts the blocker in. She can maneuver the ball around. Gallay serving once more. 16-all. 3 away from an end change. So it's a good end this for the USA regardless. They're going to be going to the good end. That's very tight. Stockman. Class with almost a fist, I think, over the top. Short. Rock to the floor. And in this heat to get up. It's a knuckle over the top of the defender. Lovely work from the USA. This is their end now. They've won 3 points. If they can win another one down here, they go to the slightly better end to serve. And they do it with a lead. So the advantage is with the USA here, that's for sure. Cuba and Switzerland are all tied on the other court. The turn is technically really strong from Stockman, just opens up and tracks the ball back on the deep one. But Argentina once more just don't know when they're beaten, do they? Moving the ball around offensively with their spiking. Defending the power was Stockman, but she's beaten on the inside. 17-all. Will we see Argentina cause a bit of an upset here? 12 seeds, the USA. 21st seeds in this competition. Argentina. Tight, brings the block in. There's a touch on the net from Pereyra, and that's a big touch of the net at a humongous time, really. It's given the USA the service. I think we know what channel they're going to serve down, unless the wind's changed. Clear net touch. Takes responsibility for it. Deep serve. It's exactly why they wanted to win that last point. But at the same time, Pereyra finds a way. Stuck underneath the ball for a period of time means you can't turn the ball as gracefully when you're underneath the ball. But the knuckle came out and she sees Kolinske. She just knows she's moving, knows she's a bit late, and just works it off the hand. Smart from Argentina. Back in system. Nobody's the call, but the breaking block is an absolute worldie. Chance to take control of this one. Big moments in this Pool E first matchup. In or out. It's a narrow margin. And the point has gone to Argentina. Hobie says the ball is out. What Hobie says goes. 2 for Argentina to take this to a third set. No way. Kolinske goes to the line, and there's a bit more life left in this Pool E game yet, that's for sure. We're going... They've got to win by 2 clear points. Cuba, Switzerland at 14-all. There's nothing between the teams in this pool so far. It's going to be one to watch throughout this competition. Finals coming in 3 days' time. Jumbo, wide. The ball's dropping inside on Pereyra. She can't get her feet there. She can't control the arm. Match point to the USA. Can they do it the first time of asking? No. Clutch from Pereyra. Great feet. Solid out the sand, and the arms working really well. Controlled. Well, now it's the first to 22. 2 clear points wins the second set. If Argentina can win it, we go to a third to 15. High drama early on, day 1 of this Cancun hub. Service error from Pereyra has really handed a second opportunity for the USA not to have to side out there. That's a gift from Argentina. Service to Pereyra again. Has to do a lot of blocking, siding out and serving. But when she needs to, she's siding out with class and ease. The last one was drilled angle. This one is played high line over the top of the block. There's a change of ends. And guess what? Argentina have hung on in there throughout that last end. and they've given themselves a real opportunity to sneak the second. This matters for both teams, but the USA on their Olympic run would rather get this done and dusted. Another missed serve. That's costly from Argentina. It's one from Gallay, one from Pereyra. They've given the USA 2 match points in a row. USA yet to take advantage yet, though. Serve deep on Pereyra to stay in this one. Jumbo. First swing for the match goes to Stockman. It's a high knuckle. Gallay at full stretch, hanging on here. Argentina not chasing into the net too quickly. Pereyra, second opportunity from the left side. The USA take their opening match here of the Cancun hub by 2-0. The second set was a tough one, that's for sure. Argentina can be proud of their for 25th place. Didn't win a game in the main draw a month ago in Doha. They have a good opportunity here after securing qualification yesterday. Good performances against Emmy Van Driel and Maxime Van Driel, the Van Driel sisters who are so good at King of the Court. There's a good young Dutch program. A few players coming through that we're going to have to watch out for, but for Belen and Soria, they came past them. They also came past Russia, so only confidence oozing from the Spanish here. There's a bit of a loose swing from Revuelta early on. Mentioned the Spanish. We're in Brazil with Marcal, the other head coach, a little bit earlier on in the training camp. They've had good preparation this year, the Spanish. As mentioned previously, both studying in Murcia. It's not too far away from Lorca, which is the main training base where a lot of the Spanish teams are based. We've seen Herrera Gavira train there as well, alongside Tenerife. That's another hub for Spanish beach volleyball, as it is for European beach volleyball nowadays. Belen will serve. This pairing from Spain have won Copa de España. Won a gold and a silver in the Spanish Championships as well, and a silver at the World University Games. 2 silver medals at 1 stars as well. So they're no strangers to the World Tour. They're no strangers to competition. Let's put it that way. That's a big cross-body swing. We like that on the World Tour. 5'11", Soria. Just works back cross-body. Really sharp angle. From the right side. And that one's on the money. It's a lovely swing. Arms all the way back in the approach. Slight miscontact actually. Looking at it for the second time, but they will take it all day long. It's Zaira Orellana that comes in to block. It's a low block, but it's great. Everywhere. Spain look good here, but they're being matched by Mexico. The wind is really making it difficult for both teams, blowing off the net. And hugs all round, working wrist away. Revuelta. Deep breaths. We've seen some marathon rallies throughout this opening day. 30 degrees out there in Cancun at the moment. The wind does provide a little bit of relief for the players, but not that much. We've already had wins for the world champions from Canada. We've had wins for the number 1 seeded team, April Ross and Alix Kleinman already today. We're having shocks galore from Cuba. They shocked yesterday in the qualifiers. You think for Spain they'd have been happy to avoid Cuba because they come in with low points but high class. Spain think they've got an ace here. They're going to have a bit of a steward's inquiry into this point. It looks as if Bellin is going to the net. Let's have a look at what she could be arguing for. It looks as if she thinks there's an ace. Let's have a look at the line. How close is that one? You would not want to call it. Point goes the way of Mexico. Short. Big call, and it's a robust swing to the line. Great start from both teams. Big accurate swings and not many errors. And that's what's going to work for the teams when there is a breeze. And that's exactly why Spain have had the rub of the green out here in Mexico, because they have a system based on good ball control. They work hard on the technical skills, work hard on the core skills. Great setting from Spain. Bellin can't convert though. It's matched by Mexico, and they really are having a tussle. We have a feeling this one could be a long one here in Cancun. 2 on the line. Wow. Sorry, Orellana comes in to block, and she makes one. The defense from Revuelta earlier on in the rally. Potentially we have some sort of timeout coming. Maybe it's a medical. The break and the one-handed stab, unreal. It draws the error in the setting from Bellin. Advantage Mexico on home sand. Quick wipe of the face and glasses for Soria. Error from the baseline gives the initiative back, and maybe that was a slight ploy from the Spanish defender just to slow the game down, and it completely worked. It drew the error from the service line. Short serving. Off the net setting, breaking from Bellin, and that's probably a tactic. We saw that from another Mexican team earlier on in the day against Alix Tillmann, playing the ball off the net, making the blocker break, and then hitting them in the wind. The blockers won't want to break too much, especially when it's 30 degrees out there. The amount of effort that they're going to have to put in. You can see that Bellin is already under the cosh there. Bellin's been playing since 2015, played in the European under-18s in Riga. Took a 25th there. Some good performances all the way through. A 5th next time around with Moreno and Bruno. A 3rd place in the under-22s in Yermala. Seems like a long time ago in 2018. Good results at the under-22s as well, with a 3rd place finish. But it's Mexico that take the lead. This has been the so-called good end throughout today, with the breeze blowing in the face of the team on the left-hand side of your screen at the moment. That is Mexico, and they are making it count in abundance. Revuelta spin serving into the breeze once more. Great calm touch of the ball from Soria. She goes jumbo over the top of the block. It helps when you pass that well in this game. You have all your options open for you. Good vision of the court and good rhythm for the Spanish. Nothing between the two here. Every time Mexico win a point, there's jubilation around the court. Yes, there's no grandstand this week. Who needs a grandstand when you've got the backdrop that we've got here in Cancun? It's a remarkable setting. Crowds are still allowed to watch as long as they're behind the advertising boards. They'll be pretty much in the ocean today, and they don't come into the bubble that's been created by the FIVB for these 3 weeks. Oh, that's steep from Bellin. We like that a lot here. Coming in on a little bit of a line and just turning the ball a little bit. This team played together since the 4-star in Espino in 2019. Took a 33rd that week. But actually, their first tournament was in 2018 in Saturn, where they took a 5th. Some good results in Manila, Bangkok, at 1-star events. Caught off guard there, sorry. The spin serving is really difficult to control in the breeze. And sometimes it's not about serving aces, so to speak. It's about knocking the other team out of rhythm. It's exactly what this serve is doing from Mexico. Making the passer move, making the contact from the Spanish reception a little bit insecure, and all of a sudden they're not for six. Belen on the floor this time. But the good news for Belen is that she's so high out there, 6'3", 1 meter 90 centimeters. But we go to the technical timeout. It's a big point for Spain because they bring it back to 1, and they're going back to the good end. Arm swing comes all the way back, breaking of the block from Zaira Orellana. And we have a slight break here, and the Rakers can do their thing as well. It's Cancun Bubble, Grand Oasis. Cancun is the resort that we're in this week, and it's the bit of the wow factor. A little bit of pizzazz here in Cancun. The FIVB have chosen Paradise to put on this competition this week. There's the Mexicans. They will be happy. They're seeded, well, 8 in this competition because they have the wild card. There's 3 wild card entries. As we have a little bit of another look over the Caribbean. What a shot that really is. After these 3 events in Cancun, the World Tour will move to Sochi. And it's the big one, Ostrava, where the Olympic race will come to an end and the Olympic teams will be confirmed. The top 15 teams in the Olympic race will be going alongside the winners of the Continental Cup in each continent and the teams from the World Championships, and also the Olympic qualifiers that we've already seen. Liliana and Elsa lose their opening game, although they're already at the Olympics because they won in Hyun. That was their first win as a pair, actually. Played 122 events together, but that was their first win in Hyun that got them to the Olympics. Again, seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? Error creeping in, and the lead has just turned towards Spain for the first time in a long time. "34 years old. Revuelta. Partner 31 on 2. Soria is seeing that really early. She's all over it. Chance to face cross and wriggle the ball back line. It's gone really high. Try and catch the wind. As soon as it goes above those 2 meters, it really is a struggle to keep the ball alive. And it's Spain. It's a good setting really from Belen. That's why Soria goes straight for the hug, because they keep the ball down. They still manage to give the ball a nice peak and a nice loop, so you can still get your timing as a spiker, but it's not high enough to get caught by the wind. Service to the inside from the middle. Is there a touch off the block? Neither team thinks so. Belen doing her job right there in the mixer at the net. Another error from Orellana and Revuelta. And after taking an early lead, they've started to hit the struggle bus here in Cancun because they're leaking rows of points. Spain have kept their level high. Mexico have just let their level drop slightly. A couple of rasher swings. Orellana on the left of your screen. Revuelta on the right. Good matchup for both teams. Good game, this one, and the spin serve down that corridor has been a problem all day long for every team receiving that back right corner as you look at your screen. The wind is blowing in that direction, so that's why teams are serving straight into that breeze. They can really get through the ball more and more into the wind. and make the ball drop. 3-point game. Mexico will be looking to try and keep scoring down the weekend. Stop Spain getting away with it, but that's big angle, clutch swing. Soria with the fist clenched. They want to improve. It's very, very clear underneath the guidance of Fran Marcao as well. Have great people around Lorca. The future is bright. Fran Marcao also the head coach of Pereyra Gavira. They join the bubble a little bit later on. The likes of Oleg Stornovsky, Vyacheslav Krasilnikov leaving early. Lara Ludwig also leaving early before the third event. Senior Tillmann teaming up with Maggie Koziuk for that last event as Ludwig takes a little bit of a rest before the Olympic preparation. Decision's been made to keep Maggie Koziuk going. We saw high jumbo, now we see the line ball played. Delicate. Arms are really dynamic from Soria. Before she just lets the wrist go to the line, she's throwing a lot of cross, and Orellana is buying into that all the time. But it's a good reply. The word to this time. Really getting up the set, but 4 points the difference. Breaking cross Mexico, stabs another arm at it. The chase on this, a great chase into a perfect zone, but the knuckle is just the wrong side of the sideline. A chance goes begging, really, for Mexico, and it's a 4-point game. Looks as if Spain are going to take the first set here. Both teams took a 25th last time out. Chetumal for Mexico, that was so long ago, as we keep saying. 4 hours away from here in Cancun by the Belize border. The last competition for so many teams. Obviously Doha, the Qatari Cup, was the first time that Doha had a women's event, won by Alix in April a month ago, but before that was when we were all in Chetumal. Long serve. You have to take your hat off to Mexico, keeping the service pressure high, but it's Spain. To youngsters, the future, maybe the present of Spanish beach volleyball. Lily and Elsa, such a strong side for so long, but at some time their reign of being Spain's #1 team has to come to an end, and it looks as if they have a fitting team to replace them when that time comes. 2015, Spain have their first set point. Remember, they started this set slowly, but they have come good in the end. The ball control and the defense a little bit leaky to the right hand side. Big advantage here. Free ball for Spain to take an impressive first set. They've taken it. Bellin from the left side seals the deal for Spain. Convincing first set performance for a team who failed to win in Doha in the main draw, where they're looking to get that off their back here. They're looking to win in the main draw after an impressive day yesterday, where they saw off the Netherlands, the Van Driel sisters, and also Bocharova and Ganenko from Russia. Mexico not so happy. A couple of minutes to refresh and get going again. Mexico, a couple of opportunities, a couple of free net balls, a few missed serves as well. Costly. Spain just that little bit more consistent throughout. Here we go. Set number 2, day number 1 of the Cancun hub. It's the first hub of 3. Lots of games in 17 days. That's a falling away jumbo from Belen. One of the shots of the day. It's into the breeze, so you can really hit that high. You can hit it hard. You can hit it with a lot of spin. Revuelta not looking so happy at the moment. Zyra Orellana, who's the target, into the breeze. Once again, this same channel just being peppered and peppered and peppered due to the windy conditions. And Spain are flying here. Curse of the commentator as Soria flies that one wide. But on the whole, they've really picked up their level, their momentum, their consistency. There's another misserve from Orellana as well. First referee's given this one in. Carro gets down off the stand and wants to have a second look. A little bit of an inspection of the baseline, working with the line judge. Line judge says absolutely no way. Carro is giving nothing away here, going back towards the stand. Which way is this one going to go? Oh, it has been reversed. The ball was out, so Spain grab another one. Continental Cup also coming our way. Another way into the Olympics. Spanish team here be looking to compete for another spot for Spain. 2-ball really working. Belen, who has to serve, chase in to block as well. She's not there. She's not set. She's not stable. So the second ball attack is a very good one tactically in this situation. Well, we missed that one, but with the Continental Cup end of June, there's another route for beach volleyballers to get their way or their nation into the games. Davis Cup style competition, 2 teams from every nation, but there can only be 1 place per nation that goes to the games. Every confederation, every continent represented in that process as well. The ball's inside, the long angle turns into the line. The long angle is absolutely crushed by Belen. They look on cruise control here, Spain, they really do. Next up on centre court, Anders Mol, Christian Sorum up against Stevens and Sarabia from Mexico. First look at the Vikings since 2019 in the World Tour event. Yes, we saw them at King of the Court. Yes, we saw them at the European Championships where they were really effective against Stoyanovski. Krasilnikov in the final. They were brilliant against Nikolai and Lupo. Nikolai and Lupo were brilliant in that game as well. So many tough swings taken by clutch players. That's next, and then after that it is Krasilnikov and Stoyanovski up against the Italian qualifiers of Windisch and Cotofava from Italy. Ace from Mexico, they take the lead once more. That's a good start for Maggie Kojuk and Laura Ludwig on the outside courts. They've taken the first set against the Czech pairing, 21-17, 2-2 in that second. Rebecca Anna Patricia down to Behrens and Ittlinger, another new team. We've already seen Behrens' former partner Sinja Tillmann link up with Chantal Laboureur this week, just temporary. And they got off to a winning start as well. Talita Tiana Lima up against Ishii and Murakami from Japan in Paul H. One-way traffic. Brazil in that one. So games are flying at us thick and fast. Every single game of this hub is being broadcast to you. You can find any court, but we will be with you on centre, providing live commentary throughout the hub. Myself, Louis Lepp, for the next 2 games after this one, and then Clayton Lucas will do the afternoon from Cancun. Good from Mexico. Give establish the lead here, but Belen using her height to go over the top of the hands. Soria. Really aggressive pass, Orellana. Belen breaking again. Mexico really want to use that tactic to keep the ball off the net. It's off the net once more. That's a little bit because of the ball control, but every time the blocker breaks, they're just loading up and gunning for Belen. It's a clear tactic from Mexico, and hey, it's working. They lead by 2 at the change of ends. Getting back, playing defense is tough work. In this heat as well, the blockers are putting in a lot of effort, lots of mileage. Belen, left side, hammer straight down the throat of Revuelta. Keep your hands where you can see them playing defense in a good, stable, solid base. Just gets caught coming up. Ball gets a bit too close to the body of the Mexican defender. Service from Spain, chasing in Belen. Will they pick on her once more? No, they take on the defender this time. Chases on for Belen. She is putting in some work in this game. Belen back on one, the Livid style play. And a point. That's a game changer for Spain, and they know it. The counter-attack on one, trying to catch Spain cold, but they are very, very warm, and they are putting their foot on the throttle. They take the lead. This time serving from a different part of the baseline, more central line from Belen, but still working that same avenue through the wind to the right side of Zaira Orellana. This time to the inside. Chance for the Mexican on the reverse set. That's a good option because the wind is blowing slightly that way. So it might just keep the ball in the hitting window, but it's nurdled to the line on the right side from Soria. Just a pause in play, maybe a quick wipe of the face to wipe the brow. You can see full momentum through the jump, and a little high line is all it took. 2-point game. Straight back down that same line, and it's really good serving because it's difficult from there to take the back set. The pass is far too straight, and it's really limiting the options for Revuelta, who now slows down the play as well. Orellana with the set goes to the line. Good work. Overhand defense back on one. This time, it didn't work last time, did it? For Mexico. Smiles from Spain. They have been beaten. It's a quick attack. Nothing too flash about it, but it does exactly what it says on the tin, and that's beat the defense for speed. Short ball. Not many angles here, but there is one angle straight down the cross court. Hammer blow. Blocks drifting to the right hand side, leaving loads of space. Doubling up on the right side of court, Mexico. Whether it's intentional or not, I don't think we'll ever know, but it left a space for Spain. Zaira Orellana, Marta, Revuelta have done Mexico proud on home sand, that's for certain. Looks like a good day for surfing. We've seen the windsurfers out there already today, which is very unusual in beach volleyballing circumstances, to have beach volleyball and windsurfing on the same beach. But as the players have been saying, if you keep the ball low enough, the wind really takes the ball at a higher area, around 2 meters above the net is when it really takes hold of the line of the ball. Wins for Alix and April today, Bansley and Brandy, they are through to play for top of the pool. Mexico, Quintero, Torres will play Borgasuda for third place to see who goes through in Pool A. Off the hands of Bellin, great turn. It's one thing to be really aggressive in the press, finish with the hands. It's another thing to be able to land and turn. That's really not an easy phase of the game for the blocker. And Bellin has been really strong throughout that phase. Well, she's been strong throughout the game, to be fair, but she really has run proceedings well. Mexico, soft line. They had no power to the line there, but it was a late, soft turn. Brought the blocker inside, turned them back to the sideline. Smart from Mexico. Revuelta. Big game coming up later on to see who goes through in Pool B. Clancy Artacho Del Sola lost their first game. Seeded big in this competition as well. Hermanovas look over, wait for them for that match at the bottom of Pool B. Kaiser Meppelink and then Cuba already through. Lila Malin. Cuba are flying, aren't they? Back to this one from the middle. Bellin is getting served a lot of balls, and that's interesting because at that end, teams have had a lot of success serving the right side. The ball's blowing across Bellin here, so on this side, if there is this still bit of a side wind that we've been seeing so far, it's going to be fairly comfortable for the left side. Fairly comfortable. Maybe that's too generous. Still windy out there, but it's going to be more comfortable for the left sider than the right sider. Breaking off, just over rotating the wrong side of the sideline. Errors are creeping in. It's exactly what we saw in the opening set. Mexico really did spar until the technical, and after that Spain pushed away. Bellin doing damage once more. Fantastic setting. Revuelta is just on the fall away, and she manages to keep stability, takes a bigger step with the front foot, stays calm through the ball, manages to put it on the plate for Zaira Orellana. That's a soft serve back to Bellin. Bellin is absolutely crushing it at this moment in time. I'm unsure why Mexico will keep going after it this time of the game. Something's gone against Spain here. It's a warning from Rui Carvalho. Change of ends and a little bit of a tap on the wrist from the referee here towards Spain. Spain are still in cruise control here, really, so there's nothing to really be getting involved with the referee with. Bellin passing off the net. Soria has to get it back on because that first touch is off. 4 points to the good here, Spain, so can't go getting involved in too much drama with the referee because maybe you can, Bellin. That's a huge, huge rip, but it is just wide, so there's one back. And Spain still won't leave this alone. Might come back to haunt them if they start to lose their focus on what's happening right here, right now. Soria. Oh, huge. The beautiful thing about that is the sharpness of the angle away from the line that she's facing. Undefendable, really. She's done it 2 or 3 times. It really opens up the line for her. The more she can play with that cross court, the more they're going to step round on it. The more the line are open. 2 ball, net touch. Maybe no net touch whatsoever. It's a great 2 ball. Orellana. Mexico still needing to do a bit of work. They're serving really light, but they are making Spain move. But I would like to see Bellin's side-out statistics for this game because she's been effective, she's been high, she's been untouchable at times. That one, she drops her arm on that one, loses the height. Spin serve, Soria. In system Mexico, they've started to up their game. But Soria's on it. Belen on the turn. It's a knuckle. What a recovery that one is. On two. Second opportunity. The first two touches are a little bit tight for Spain. A little bit tense in the arms. The ball control that they've done so well for 80% of this match. They just need to keep it tight. It's business time in Cancun. From the middle, Belen served once more. She's sighing out every single ball, isn't she? It's going to be difficult for Mexico. No pressure really on the serve, but the wind is providing its own problems for these players, that's sure. But Spain are definitely being more aggressive behind the baseline. Left hand, because the ball's gone across the left side. Or it's a good left hand, actually. How often do you see a weak-handed swing like that? Hammer. Two goods from Mexico. Two will do it for Spain, though. Looks as if scoreboard might just be wrong. Yeah, that's better. Regardless, another service error. That's something that's they're going to rue really at the end of this game. The Mexican team. They've served soft, or they've tried to serve tough and served out. Risk versus reward, but still, the back set, here we come. It's going to run across. It's a good bit of work off the blocker. They know exactly what they're doing here. Mexico making Belen move, and then just wiping off. Jumping back into the angle, which is tough when she's already had to go from one side to the other to then jump back into the cross court. Second match point for Spain to do what they couldn't do in Doha, and there you go. It's another good performance. 2 wins yesterday to come through the qualifier. And for Spain, Maria Belen and Paula Soria, they came past the Van Drills from the Netherlands 2-0 yesterday. Then they came past Russia 2-0 as well. And it's 3 wins now in 2 days. 6 sets won, 0 lost for the Spanish team. They're seeded 25th, but they know they're going through to the knockout rounds. Disappointment